All right, everybody, we got another very special guest for you all. Everybody, please welcome to the show, Mr. Greg Moquin. Welcome, Greg.
All right.
What's going on, man?
Not much.
Glad to have you on the show, first timer. Which is it's always fun for us. When even more fun for you, you get to do your little origin story of how you got into comics, and then we'll talk about scales in a second here. But like, where did that all start for you? Were you always into comics, or?
No, actually. So, I played more video games when I was a kid.
Mhm.
So I played like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like a lot with my cousin. So Super Nintendo, like hardcore.
Mhm.
And then I got into comics because 2014, I was bored one night and I was watching Everybody Loves Raymond, and I just started writing a story.
Nice.
Not like a screenplay.
Right.
And that is our flagship title of the Seer Chronicles. It's over 1,200 pages or whatever originally, and it's in like novel format. And then I found my co-founder like a couple of years after that on Craigslist.
Wow.
I wasn't searching for the co-founder. I was trying to look for an artist, but I didn't know what I was actually looking for, even though Google is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I just looked for a graphic designer, and he's like, "That's not what you need." And I was like, "That's probably not what I need either." No.
Yeah. Right.
But he's like, "I can make you a logo," and then he just got deeper into it because he started hearing like the story.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole 1,200 plus pages that includes the Seer Chronicles, Inc., a bunch of other series like Scales. So yeah, it's all included.
Wow. So Scales was originally part of that? Like,
yeah, I just didn't have a really like a backstory for him at all. I just had like, he's a superhero and he's this like rich kid billionaire thing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
What is the Seer Nova Chronicles then?
That's so there's a firefighter that goes into this like sketchy research lab in a city called Seer City, which is completely based off of Schenectady.
Nice.
Like it's mapped out to be Schenectady.
I'll read it.
And then because we were gonna make a video game, and then I would get into that later. And that didn't happen. But so he goes into a research lab. He ends up dying trying to save this like janitor that's trapped in there because there's a huge firefighter, and there's a whole conspiracy around like why the fire was started, and it goes deep into this company that kind of pulls the strings for a bunch of stuff. So it's kind of like reality, like BlackRock.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And a bunch of others. So
yeah. Oh, really cool. And so Scales fits into that universe.
Yep.
As a hero.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's a good segue point for us. But so Scales issue 1. So this is like the origin story of the character, but it's a supernatural superhero. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So the first story is an origin story, but there are no superpowers in this story.
Okay.
Eric Drakeson, that's like the main character. He goes on a tropical vacation to this place called Gali, which is basically Greece, but in our Earth. And he doesn't really want to go on the vacation in the first place because he planned it with his now dead father. And that was one of the things they always bonded over, was like vacation and travel and all that stuff. And so he doesn't really want to go on it, but he ends up going, obviously. And he gets trapped in a cave, and his stepbrother kind of does not help him at all. He's kind of a douche.
Okay.
he just leaves him to like die, basically.
Okay.
To kind of promote the comic, I have to spoil some things.
Okay.
So his mom is pushed off of a cliff by his stepfather.
Okay.
His stepfather is also was a friend of his father. So there's like so much history in between that.
Okay.
You see kind of like a shady deal going down before they go on vacation between the stepfather and like this lawyer.
Okay.
You'll see that more in issue 2 and 3. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. And then there's this green energy orb thing that he kind of like finds in the cave, and that kind of guides him to the Temple of Dragons. And that's where he starts to do training and all the stuff to become a superhero.
So Chris and I
knew there were dragons.
We knew there had to be dragons. So Chris and I were like, we're talking about scales, and we've been like saying on the show the past couple episodes, we're like, we did a dragon book last week. I'm like, is this another dragon book? We're like, is this scales? Yeah, it was like a dragon western though, so not like this at all. But yeah, that sounds really cool. So he gets these supernatural abilities, and there's a temple where these like warriors are trained or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. I mean, we could talk about, Chris has got the page pulled up right now for Kickstarter, everybody, but the project is funded, so congrats on that.
Nice.
Still with 18 days to go. As of this drops, they'll have probably like 15 days, but you have some milestone meters there, and some other like stretch goals, right? If you want to talk about those a little bit.
Yeah. So at 2,500, which we were really close to, and then someone decreased their pledge by a lot.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Kickstarter.
Yeah.
That's a digital wallpaper set. So the person he's the artist for my series Mittens. He also helps me make Kickstarter pages so they don't look like trash.
Yeah.
He found 3 things that kind of look good in the book that could be like for a desktop wallpaper for a phone. So
that's cool.
That's for that. And then that 3,500, it's glow in the dark energy or keychain.
Very cool.
And then at 5,000, there's question marks for it, but I already know what it's going to be. I didn't know at the time of making the stretch goal, but it's going to be a glow in the dark cover.
Oh.
It's a whole new cover.
Wow.
It's being made right now. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, so
that's a really cool idea. Yeah, I was even going to ask, like, was there any glow in the dark aspect to it? Because it looks like it would be perfect for that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I want to talk
backer goals too. I always like these to get free comics for the more backers you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So a lot of these are your from the creators too, but digital comics from the team, pretty much.
Yeah. So I just ask on Facebook or wherever, and I'm like, who has a PDF that they don't mind promoting, basically for free.
Yep.
And we unlocked 3 of those so far. I'm 1 backer away from unlocking the 4th one, Corruptor, by Edward Davis. I try to get into a theme of like what the Kickstarter is. So if it's like a sci-fi comic, I try to get those. But I tried doing that on the Mittens campaign last year, and that kind of failed. Like we got like 3 PDFs because they're like, we don't really have sci-fi comics. I was like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, right. There's not that many. And you have some other cool stuff that you added on, like these customizable ID badges and trading cards and stuff like that.
Yeah. So every campaign we do, we have a trading card, at least one.
That's cool.
And it's based on like whatever character. Obviously, it's Eric. So this trading card is not as cool as like what the next one's going to be. It's going to be Eric again, but in issue 2, we're jumping 20 years into the future.
Oh wow!
So yeah, it's because it's just him training up until 2024. So some things are going to change and stuff, but he's going to age.
Yeah.
So on that trading card, on all those trading cards, I usually have like a interesting fact or something that you wouldn't know unless you had a trading card. So cool. On that trading card, it says like something about his favorite video game, or he's like one of the best at this video game, and the video game is like a made up video game.
Oh, okay.
That I actually wrote in high school.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I was like, oh, I'm gonna just do that. And then I told the guy that made this Kickstarter page for me, I was like, I know you're busy working on 7,000 other comics, but would you want to make this into a comic too at some point?
Oh,
And
wow.
he's like, oh, that'd be cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's a
Great.
cool little Easter egg that you added there.
I like the
yeah.
postcard too. That's a cool touch.
Yeah, I knew I needed some kind of like travel vibe thing.
Yeah,
And I was like, I didn't even really say anything. Well, I didn't really say anything about the blood. And then the artist for Scales, he made that postcard, Adam Fields, and he's just like, yeah, I'll just put my own spin on it. And I was like,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's not that great of a vacation. You had to add the blood to it. And then let's talk about Adam Fields for a second, because the art for this book is absolutely amazing. And how did you guys get hooked up? From just previous projects, or?
Yeah, so he does ink for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I found him in 2018 or 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I mean for the book though, like I feel like his style works really well for especially for like having younger characters too. I don't know what I think the art just fits right.
Yeah, and there's that lizard dragon guy.
Yeah,
that's covered in scales.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that he would want to draw that character again, but he actually really wants to draw the character again. So now I have to like find a way to add that character to the series as like a regular.
He wants to draw all those scales again.
Yeah, apparently. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess
it's a great warm-up exercise or something.
Guess I have to figure that out.
Yeah.
I figured that would be the panel. He'd be like, never again.
Yeah,
right.
That's what I thought.
It makes me think of the Jim Lee story where he's like, he was trying to stand out drawing Batman. So he drew like the sole of his boot. And then he realized, like, fuck, now I have to do this every time I draw Batman.
Everybody's going to expect it. Yeah, we need every individual scale on that armor, please.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool project. And I, just from what you're saying and, like, seeing that this is a kind of an origin story for this character that I see is really interesting. It also makes me interested in all the other stuff that it's part of, you know, your previous books. Do you have anything like that as add-ons for the campaign?
I don't, and I probably should. But,
yeah, I think that's like a really good
should.
idea for sure, because I'm like interested in that stuff now. Yeah.
I should probably add that.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So you might have some more money flowing in from that, but I think the book looks great.
Yeah, I also was looking through the campaign as like what Mike's saying, doing a tier that's just like the Sierra Nova Chronicles tier, just all of it, bam, right there, whether it's digital or physical.
Yeah,
but you could just do that with add-ons as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then
I think it's a good idea.
When I found this, I immediately, like, we talked, you and I off air, and I was thinking, like, wait, these are the guys that did Mittens, and you keep bringing Mittens up. I'm like, I love Mittens. Mittens is such a fun book.
Yeah. That I never read Mittens, but if it was an add-on option, for sure, I would read it. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. Is there anything else you want to say about the book before we wrap up? Or
if you like the Goonies, Count of Monte Cristo, apparently someone said it's like that.
Okay, interesting.
Or Indiana Jones, you'll like Scales. So
awesome,
very nice,
very cool.
And if listeners, readers want to follow you, the project, whatever you guys are doing in the future, do you do social media? Where can we send them?
Instagram, Twitter, X, YZ, whatever you want to call it. Pinterest, Twitch, all of that. Facebook, Sierra Nova Comics. Just type that in, you'll find us.
Cool. Great.
Awesome. And to everybody out there, as usual, I'll have a link to the Kickstarter page down in the show notes below. So make sure to check that out, look over the page, and back the project if you find it interesting.
Yep.
Greg, thanks so much for taking a second and come and chat with us. We really appreciate it. And look forward to the next one, man.
Yeah.
See ya.